Now hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another Swiss001 video and another episode of my little Discovering the World series that I have going on. Today we are in the middle of the Alps. We're actually on the Italian side, I guess. In fact, we're going to visit the airport of Cortina, which is actually not very well known, and it's an abandoned airport as well. That's also pretty interesting. So yes, here we are. Now this is what the ramp of this airport looks like. This is a pretty old school airport. It was built in 1956. Actually, it was built for the Winter Olympics that were happening, I guess, in the town of Cortina, which is over here. Oh wow, this is quite nicely detailed in the flight simulator, isn't it? That's pretty nice. And yeah, that's why the airport is here. It was built especially for that event, so that there could be visitors coming in by plane as well. And when I mean plane, I don't mean necessarily big plane. This is only a 1,300 meter long runway. That is really not long. Also, this is not a very wide runway either. This actually is a pretty American looking runway when you think about it, because Americans, they tend to build their runways very much more narrow, which is another very interesting fact, I guess. But first of all, let's actually go ahead and fly some plane here. Now, a plane that we checked out recently was the Outback, the EV-55. I think we have to use that plane again sometimes. Let's actually perform a landing in this very plane. All right, here we are. Welcome on board. Oh no. See, you know, flying here in the flight simulator in the Alps is not very easy sometimes, because you tend to spawn in right inside of a mountain, which we just did. But this plane is a very powerful turboprop plane that doesn't struggle with stuff like that. We have survived this spawn, I guess. This is actually a Czech plane, isn't it? From the Czech Republic. That's very interesting. And I think down here is the runway, isn't it? See, flying here in the mountains is very dangerous, which also was the reason why this airport was later on closed. But that is to come later. Let's first of all go ahead and land this plane. Now, something special about these turboprop planes is that they are, you know, they are very powerful. We talk about these in every single video pretty much. They really don't need a long runway to perform safely, so, you know, this won't be that much of an issue. Or will it? Let's find out. We are flying very much close to mountains and all that stuff. I'm not very comfortable with that. Just from my first impression here, you know, my first landing and all that. Oh, alright, that was a pretty hard landings, but landings here must always be rough, probably. There we go. That was actually pretty nice. Yeah, no problem for planes like the EV-55. Actually, this is not a very large one anyway. This can only fit a few passengers. But I mean, it's better than nothing, right? So that's good. Now, let's move on to a bigger plane then. Let's actually go a little bit crazy. Let's step up the game by a lot. How about a jet? I feel lucky today. I need to use the Dassault Falcon FA-50. I mean, it is quite a solid plane after all. All right, welcome back on board. Okay, this is actually going to be interesting. This is actually quite a large private jet, but you know, I've probably landed it on shorter runways, so let's see. We're looking good. You know, just the approach here is quite a challenge, especially in bigger planes like the 777. That'll be the hardest part. I mean, besides actually stopping on that short runway. But you know, these big planes, they are not very well responsive. They take a while to respond to your controls because of their size, and that doesn't work very well here in the mountains next to trees and all that stuff. You really have to be quick here, which is why even this plane actually comes to its limits here, because it's a lot faster than other planes, obviously. Oh goodness. Alright, that was not a very good landing, was it? Okay, and we are not very much stopping. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, there we go now. That was, like, very much frightening, actually, because the plane just didn't want to stop for some reason, but it did after a while. Yeah, this was a very bad landing. Something really went wrong here. Ouch. Yeah, we have definitely broken the FA-50 with that landing. Whatever, it worked. I mean, that's what matters, isn't it? All right, let's go a little bit more exotic. MD-80. Actually, that's quite a nice plane, isn't it? Made by McDonald's. And now I want a cheeseburger, I'm not gonna lie. Let's just go ahead and fly this plane here. See, to Olympic Games, there's obviously a lot of visitors showing up as well, right? And they also need to be flown here, of course. And that's where the MD-80 can come into play, right? I mean, a lot of people actually underestimate the size of this plane. This is not a very small one, especially compared to the other planes that we have flown here before in the video. But let's just see. yeah, see, with the runway this narrow, it can be hard to genuinely hit it, especially if you need to concentrate on touching down as soon as possible for the stopping to work. I mean, you know, this is not a very large wingspan that this plane has, and still, the wings are very much hanging over grass, which is like, you know, this is not a very wide runway, at least. See, this is the landing. We probably didn't hit the runway properly. Oh, I mean, it was pretty close, but, you know, it worked fine, and we were very, very much close to hitting another plane. But yeah, that was another very hard touchdown. You see, with a runway this narrow, you always get a little bit nervous about hitting the spot here. So, you know, sometimes as a pilot, you prioritize the stopping part of the landing over the actual smoothness or technical part of it, if that makes sense. You just want to stop as quickly as possible, and that ruins your landing, which is why the landings so far haven't really been that good. Okay, this is obviously just excuses, but whatever. Let's actually, for contrast, try a very modern plane, some kind of 737 MAX or something. All right, welcome aboard quite a more modern plane than the other planes that we've tried in this video. Again, you know, it's not even out yet. Let's see, from the runway distance itself, this landing shouldn't be that much of an issue. I mean, this is after all a 1,300 meter long runway, if I haven't even mentioned the length. Talking about numbers, this is actually at an elevation of 1,200 meters as well. Not the best conditions for a 737 MAX 10, but it's possible. And that's actually the interesting part. We might be a little very much fast, but that was at least technically a little bit of a better landing compared to the other ones, but still a very, very fast one. We were at least like 20 knots faster than normally, but there we go. This was, again, very much satisfactory. Oh wow, with a runway this narrow, it's a little bit of a tricky thing. See, the 737 is really not a large plane, so bigger ones will definitely be interesting, but let's check out this landing. It was another very, well, quick landing. Not a very comfortable one. We almost did not flare, which was because of the speed that I had, but it was fine enough and a totally safe landing, so no worries about that. The problem though is moving on to a bigger plane now. Like, how do you do that? Let's go a bit crazy already. Let's go 777 left. See, the aircraft fuselage of the 737 is as large as the engines, the GE90 engines of the 777 itself. So this will be a pretty interesting one, I guess. All right, welcome on board. Oh wow, this is not gonna be a very easy landing. As I've said before, this is not a very responsive plane. This will probably take a lot of tries. Oh, terrain, very much. Oh, all right. Yeah, no way I'm gonna get this plane landed down here. All right, I'm gonna try my best at least. All right, that was quite a promising landing. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, this is actually pretty hard, you know, getting around this mountain and then landing on the runway with the proper speed. It's just not possible in this plane, and that's the problem. Really, the biggest plane to fly here, like, at all is the 737. It cannot go any bigger than that. Something I had mentioned before was that this airport is not a thing anymore. Yes, it's been abandoned for quite a long time now, and it was remained closed to traffic since an accident involving a Cessna 206 in 1976 that actually killed a few people, and there was a crash right after takeoff in difficult wind conditions, and that wind is actually a big problem here, I guess, because, you know, that's typical here of the mountains. You have like a lot of wind coming in here from this side, I would guess. I think there's actually a specific name for that, like for the wind here that you have in the Alps, or at least in some valleys in the Alpine region, and that was probably the reason this airport was shut down very much eventually. But first of all, let's go ahead and take off or something. This will not work out anyway, but, you know, it's worth giving it a try, right? All right, we're looking good. 80 knots. 100 knots, and come on, take off. Oh yeah, we have overrun by a bit now, and trees, mountains, very much dead. Alright, yeah, this is pretty hopeless. So, yeah guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.